Hi guys, welcome to our channel Beyond Stocks. Today we're going to talk about a very interesting topics that is electric vehicles. In the developed countries, there's a lot of demand for electric vehicles. As we see, there's a lot of pollution which is increasing, and people also the diesel and the petrol prices are soaring high and high each day. So people will always prefer electric vehicles where that's very convenient to use, that will be based on batteries. So the most important component for electric vehicles would be batteries. So we today we would be discussing about something related to that, as in if the electric vehicles are in boom for the next for the future or for the coming years. Let us see which electric vehicle stocks we can buy for long term, so that it will do good for us. Because of course we know that electric vehicles would be in the demand would be really high for electric vehicles. If you want to save energy, the most convenient and the best way is to opt for electric vehicle. Coming to the parts, so the most important part of electric vehicle would be lithium-ion battery. It's the most commonly used battery in electric vehicle. So there are three Indian companies, namely Tata Chemicals, Amara Raja Batteries, and Exide, who are planning to start or who are planning to set up plants in India for producing lithium-ion battery. In an analyst call, Tata Motors had discussed that they are in collaboration with other Tata Group companies like Tata Power, Tata Chemicals, Tata Autocom Systems, and Tata Motor Finance, in a way to produce electric vehicle and to support the components of electric vehicles like chargers or batteries, lithium-ion batteries, cells, etc. So here, the role of Tata Chemicals would be they would be providing a lithium-ion battery to Tata Motors for manufacturing electric vehicles. So they are also looking for technical partners for establishing lithium-ion cell manufacturing plants. They've also bought land in Gujarat, and they are in full strategizing and planning to make the plant more successful and to provide lithium-ion batteries to the Tata Motors electric vehicles. So Tata Chemicals will be playing an important role in this particular process.
So another important component of the EV ecosystem is EV charging. So if you do not have the EV charging itself, there will be no use of like producing the electric vehicle itself, because you will not have any charging points to charge it. So let's look at the companies which are working on providing these EV charging points. So one of the most popular one is Tata Power. Like they already have 170 charging points in 20 cities, and their target is of 1 lakh charging points in 100 plus cities by FY25. And this will help in increasing the revenues and profits of Tata Power in the long term. Like as the number of charging points increase, the revenues from this segment will also increase. Plus, as Nidhi has showed in the slide before, like how Tata Motors is working along with group companies. So this will benefit all those companies in the long term. Tata Motors, Tata Power, Tata Chemicals, all these companies in the long term. So another company that is working on creating the EV ecosystem is ABB Power. And like they are working on the flash charging technology. So there is a difference between ABB Power and Tata Power. So Tata Power is working on creating the infrastructure for charging. Like they are installing the charging stations for charging. But ABB Power is working on the flash charging technology. Like how fast can you charge the electric vehicle itself? So there will be battery, lithium ion battery in the electric vehicle. So how fast can you charge? So if you use different technology, they can reduce the time for charging. So that's what ABB Power is working. And like this is one of the PPTs like which they have uploaded on their website. And in this you can see pilots to develop and test new electric buses using ABB's world's fastest flash charging technology. So they are working on creating this technology and they are testing it. And they have already started testing this on Ashok Leyland's electric buses. And also in the opportunity section, if you see, they have highlighted many things like rail electrification, data centers. But if you see the last point here, they have also highlighted that e-mobility is one of the very big opportunity for ABB Power. So they're also working on the EV ecosystem here. So we have already looked at two important parts of the EV ecosystem, that is batteries as well as charging infrastructure and charging technology. Now let's look at the another one, that is electric motors. So which will also be a very important part of the electric vehicles. And one of the companies that is like which manufactures electric motors is CG Power. And this is from their annual report. Like I have taken this from the annual report of CG Power, and they have mentioned that CG forays into EV market with its dedicated motors for passenger buses. So they have already started manufacturing electric motors for passenger buses. And also if you see, they have mentioned in the annual report that CG becomes the first Indian motor manufacturer to enter the EV motor category and plans to expand its presence in other four-wheeler automobiles. So they have, of course, started with passenger buses for now, like they are manufacturing motors for passenger bus, but in the future they are also going to expand this to four-wheelers also.
Another company which is there in the manufacturing of electric motors is Igarashi Motors. So Igarashi Motors is trying to build up two platforms, two energy efficient platforms for motors. One is the electric vehicle EVA series, another one is electric efficient appliances ETA series. So the difference between two platforms is one is focusing on electric vehicles and its components. The second one is focusing on electric appliances and its components. So we would be focusing more on EVA series, that is electric vehicles and components. They are developing different power batteries. That is, if you see 1 kilowatt to 2 kilowatt, they have appliances like e-scooter, e-rickshaw. So in 3 kilowatt, 5 kilowatt, they have e-bikes and 3W autos. And in 7.5 and above kilowatt, they have autos and load carriers. So these are the kind of vehicles or appliances they are working on motors, electric motors, which would be useful in electric vehicle system as a whole. Another important component of electric vehicle is EV powertrain. Electric powertrain basically comprises of engine, transmission, and other components. So basically, the powertrain encompasses every component that converts engine's power into movement of the vehicle on the road. So this is the basic role of powertrain. The company which has forayed in EV powertrain is Bharat Forge. So while going through the latest annual report of Bharat Forge, we found out that Bharat Forge is working on EV powertrain by getting into joint ventures with different companies. So Bharat Forge has established two business lines. One is EV e-powertrain integration, and another one is e-powertrain component for two and three wheeler vehicles and commercial vehicles. Here they have bought stakes in Tork Motors and Teva Motors, because Tork Motors and Teva Motors are also working on the similar kind of project. Hence, to accelerate the growth and the strategy of making powertrains, Bharat Forge has bought stakes in these two companies.
So another company that is working on the EV solutions is Bosch Limited. And if you see, like, we have found again this from the latest annual report of Bosch Limited, and you can see like they are working on electrification solutions for the ecosystem. And they have highlighted like this is why Bosch is also developing solutions for charging and connected services for the ecosystem that will accelerate electrification. So they are working on the whole EV solution itself, like charging also, and many other solutions also. And they have also deployed these solutions in the Chetak electric scooter of Bajaj. So Bajaj has already came up with the Chetak electric scooter, and they have deployed the EV solutions in that scooter. And they are in the future also, like they are, if you see, Bosch has set up Project House Electrification to develop solutions for EV and prove the concept of electric mobility in the last mile or in India. So they are also working on the EV solutions, but it's not very clear like on which part they are working. So that is not very clear from this report, and I think we will come to know that later. So once they expand to other customers also, like Bajaj is one of their first customer. As they expand to other customers, it will become more clear. So we have already discussed about different components like batteries, charging infrastructure, motors, and all of this. But of course, the main important here will be electric vehicles manufacturer itself, like because they will finally be rolling out the electric vehicles on the road. So some of the important companies there, like which we have seen, like they have already started deploying electric vehicles, are Tata Motors. So you already have Tata EV cars on the road. Mahindra and Mahindra also have, you have electric vehicles for Mahindra and Mahindra. Ashok Leyland is working on electric buses. JBM Auto is again working on electric buses. Hero Bajaj, they are also working on electric bikes and scooters. So these are the 5 important companies that we have found which are working on creating the electric vehicles itself. And we will take example of Tata Motors itself, like as we have more data of Tata Motors, like their EV sales actually. So if you see, like this is the latest report, and you can see like this is like how many vehicles Tata Motors is selling. So you can see like in FY18 it was 131 EV cars. In FY19 it was 349, and now it's 3,000 almost. So they are selling around 3,000 EV cars now, and that's around 72% market share. So that's huge, right? 72% of the electric vehicles in India is sold by Tata Motors. And if they keep on increasing this, so of course their sales will also increase from this segment.
So, as we saw about electric vehicles and the components, different companies who are manufacturing different components for electric vehicles, also the companies who are going to manufacture electric vehicles itself on the road. So, out of all the companies amongst electric vehicles and the components of electric vehicles, our favorite and the topmost likely pick for both of us would be these 5 companies like Tata Chemicals, CG Power, Igarashi Motors, ABB Power, and Tata Motors. So, why these 5 companies? So, one of the most important reason of choosing these 5 companies is their promoters have huge money to invest in these companies to make the business forward, and they have a lot of support to these companies to motivate them or to help them financially to grow in EV vehicle sector. And hence we're choosing these 5 companies. One of the examples would be Tata Motors. So Tata Motors, a promoter, that is Tata Group companies, have a lot of money to invest in Tata Motors in order to make Tata Motors grow in the electric vehicle segment. Another example would be CG Power. So CG Power parent company is Tube Investments, that is under Murugappan Group. Murugappan Group is quite an old company which has a lot of financial stability and support which they can provide to CG Power in order to grow in the EV segment ahead. So that is why our 5 picks would be these companies. So a word of disclaimer would be, if you want to invest in these 5 companies, do not just rely on our comments and the video. Do your own personal research and then invest, because it is your own personal money. Also, let us know about your favorite pick from these 5 companies or any other company which you would like to share with us. Your thoughts about the EV electric vehicle segment. Let us know in the comments below. And if you like our research, our report, and the presentation, do not forget to share it with your friends and family, and like and subscribe our channel. Thank you.